कॉन्फिडेंशियल ये होगा कि अगर आप नेशनल डिफेंस के लिए या किसी और या किसी ट्रेड सीक्रेट की कोई नई चीज डेवलप कर रहे हैं उसके लिए कोई
तो आपका कहना है कि जो भी नोटिंग्स ऑफिसर्स की मिनिस्टर्स के साथ है, ऑफिसर्स की आपस में हैं, वो कॉन्फिडेंशियल नहीं होता?
सर्टेनली नहीं। इसमें सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने बहुत बार, सुप्रीम कोर्ट हैज हेल्ड मेनी अ टाइम्स कि नोटिंग जो है ये कॉन्फिडेंशियल नहीं है जब तक वो उस सेक्शन 8 के दायरे में नहीं आता। सेक्शन 8 में कॉन्फिडेंशियलिटी की डेफिनेशन दी गई है और ये भी बताया गया कि क्या कौन सा कॉन्फिडेंशियल होगा, कौन सा नहीं होगा। सो जस्ट बिकॉज यू बिकम अनकंफर्टेबल बाय रिवीलेशन ऑफ सम नोटिंग और आप बोलें कि ये कॉन्फिडेंशियल, आई डोंट थिंक दैट इज डन। अगर सलमान खुर्शीद जी को लगता है कि कोई कैबिनेट, कोई सेक्रेटरी अपनी नोटिंग नहीं डाल रहा और वो डर रहा है, तो वो सिर्फ गलत काम करते हुए डरते हैं। सही काम करते हुए मैंने किसी ब्यूरोक्रेट का हाथ कांपते हुए नहीं देखा। सही काम करते हुए वो पूरी नोटिंग लिखते हैं, पूरे रीजनिंग लिखते हैं और सब कुछ लिखते हैं। सो आरटीआई एक्ट प्रोटेक्ट्स प्रोग्रेसिव ऑफिसर्स हु आर डूइंग द राइट थिंग, एंड पीपल हु आर डूइंग द रॉन्ग थिंग, दे आर अफ्रेड ऑफ आरटीआई एंड दे आर अफ्रेड ऑफ पुटिंग देयर राइटिंग्स इन।
Mr. Kashyap, you've been a civil servant almost all your serving life, and in fact you were the chief secretary.
Except 3 years where I was the judge for
that's right,
judging civil servants.
Were you comfortable as a bureaucrat writing and noting because for the fear that it will, at some point of time it will come out?
No, at that time the problem was that they did not come out. I wish we had that protection at that time, because if we had that protection, wherever differences of opinion between secretary and minister took place, the public should know. It's not that secretary is always right, but sometimes if the secretary says such and such officer is corrupt, he must be suspended.
But you could have always leaked out those papers, no?
No, in fact I made references to the chief minister. Where there is a difference, you can take the matter through the chief secretary to the chief minister. So I think that this is a lack of self-confidence rather than confidentiality which is bothering them. If you have the self-confidence, the basic problem is, I feel, that officers and ministers have not read the act. If you read the act, there is sufficient protection against exploitation. So you must read the bare act and go accordingly. I think it gives greater protection to the honest officers than existed earlier. And my criticism of the activists is that they are not bringing out these conflicts in the open. They should be talking more where there has been miscarriage of justice.
That's very interesting. So you don't agree with the union ministers who say that it is actually affecting the efficiency?
It should not be affecting the efficiency at all, because if it is something to deal with the defense or security, you can always take the plea under section 8. And if it is something to do with your own fiduciary relationship, there are at least 7 or 8 subsections of section 8 where you can take protection. And in any case, there are certain institutions which are exempt from the operation of the RTI Act. So I don't think that one needs to be afraid of the RTI Act.
Hemant, when the ministers are sworn in, they also take an oath of secrecy. Do you think that oath of secrecy needs to be changed and it should be restricted to only those clauses where the RTI does not apply?
I don't think oath of secrecy is in conflict with the RTI Act, because that is only the decision making process. Once the process is complete, at that point of time every file where public decision has been taken comes into the public domain. It is very clear, and the Supreme Court has examined this question, and after examining they have said that it is only the process, and once a final decision is taken, then you cannot say that you are bound by that oath of secrecy or something. So if I am taking, let's say I am in process of purchasing some defense equipment or some intelligence equipment, so while that process is going on, nobody can come and say please give me this information. If there's an investigation which is going on, let's say there's a police investigation going on, so and there are certain things which you should not reveal to the culprit, or which should not come to the knowledge of public, at that point of time you have that protection that anything which is under investigation is not to be revealed. That protection is already inbuilt, but I don't think it is in conflict with the oath of secrecy.
Mr. Kashyap, there is a feeling that a lot of people in fact say that the RTI Act is being misused. Now, you've been the Chief Information Commissioner. Do you also get that feeling?
I would say it's not being misused, it's being underused and wrongly used. it should be used for the public purpose. It's being misused to the extent that frivolous things are being asked for. They should be asking on policies. If the government has said during this year we would reduce poverty, ask them what have you done. If you say that you are going to reduce environmental pollution, give the facts. And if you say you are checking corruption, unfortunately they are not speaking about these things. What the activists are doing now is going for frivolous things which affect them individually. And some of them are doing it to get into the headlines in order to say that, well, we have been denied information, see we've put kind of a blackmail.
frivolous जो information मांगते हैं उसको कैसे deal करते हैं?
You see, any information that is demanded has to be given. The reason why many people are scared of the RTI is that they have not read the Act. If they read the Act, then they will be bold and say, this information, nahi, we will not supply that information. I think they are not saying it because they are dependent on the babus. The impact of this Act should have been that the officer should take a decision, not the babu. He doesn't need anyone to put up a case to him. Anyone who writes the note, takes a decision, is responsible. So unfortunately, the old system of the junior officer putting it up, superintendent or under secretary, and the secretary just signing, that is prevailing. And the person who has signed says, I am safe, nobody has ever bothered to say, I only said what, approved what was written by the junior. Now under RTI Act, they don't realize that if they are approving a decision, they are going to be held accountable. So the accountability of officers under the RTI Act, that is the greatest benefit that this Act has got.
Hemant, in your opinion, what needs to be done to make the officers, the ministers and all public servants more accountable? Because we keep hearing of even these scams coming out, even now. So see, if you know, they were really accountable, possibly some of these things won't happen.
What is most unfortunate is that the RTI Act has not been fully implemented even after 6 years. Now there is a provision, the first provision is about proactive disclosure, which is section 4. Section 4(1)(a) specifically says that all public documents have to be put online. Everything, whatever the government has, all the records, once the decisions are over, they should be linked with the national electronic backbone and they should be accessible to the public.
I'll just add to this, that this thing should have been done by October of 2005.
So
and they have not done
in
it for
6 years. Today is, it's right now is October 2011. So in 6 years they have not done it. Had they been serious about the RTI Act, the government, the central government, Salman Khurshid and all his government and all that, had they been serious, they would have implemented section 4. If you implement section 4, then most of the information would be already in public domain, and people wouldn't be filing small applications and running from pillar to post to get even documents about their promotion or about what happened in a tender document. These documents are supposed to be available to public proactively. They are supposed to be linked to the website. They are supposed to be available in the national data, electronic data bank. But the government is not serious. They have not done it. On the other hand, when somebody asks for information or when some sensitive paper comes out, they say it is hampering our work. I don't understand how can RTI hamper work. I remember I would like to recollect a Supreme Court judge while in US, while deciding a FOI case, Freedom of Information case, he said sunlight is the best disinfectant. So in a situation,
absolutely, sunlight is the best disinfectant. Do you feel that some more departments should also come under the RTI, including departments of defense and possibly even some of these intelligence agencies?
See, defense is already under RTI. There is no exemption for defense defense except for section 8 provisos. So defense is already there, but certain intelligence agencies which are in first schedule, I think they should be under RTI, because even in our intelligence agencies there is lot which should be under the RTI Act.
Yeah, because we keep hearing about these intelligence agencies snooping on you know, the common people and into the privacy of the people. Mr. Kashyap, what is your opinion? Should some of these intelligence agencies be open to RTI?
You see, this is a matter. I was the chairman of a committee of information commissioners. We submitted our report. We had gone into this, and it was felt that we should at least allow the present system to function rather than bring more and more people. Let's at least get those who are under the Act to behave. The biggest problem that we found was that the maintenance of records is very poor. If the records, I agree with Hemant, that if the records are properly maintained, half the item would be straight away available. In fact, most of them in Britain and in Germany and in USA, they say click of a button, if the information is not supplied in half an hour, it doesn't exist. They are so confident that everything is there. So what is required is, first of all, that the records should be properly modernized in a scientific manner. Second, proper training, and everyone should be taught to read and take action. There is nothing to be afraid of. And third, you have nothing to fear when you are telling the truth. If the truth is going to be known, nothing is going to happen. And there are sufficient safeguards in the RTI Act. You have to read those and try to build your defense accordingly.
Right. Mr. Kashyap, before you go into a break, a quick reaction to why is there tension between the information commissioners and the RTI activists?
I think both sides are to blame on that.
Okay.
Both sides are, I think it's a lack of preparedness. Both don't work hard enough. I think both of them, if they read the act, study it carefully, they'll feel that there is going to be no conflict. There should not be any conflict.
Hemant, why is there conflict between the RTI?
I don't think there is a conflict as such. There is no conflict on the principle of giving information, but the problem comes when there are some bureaucrats who are appointed in the commissions. Now the bureaucrats, without having a I would say a cooling off period, there should be at least 2-3 years of cooling off period. So one day you are a chief secretary and next day you are sitting in a information commissioner chair. So as a result, there is bound to be some conflict of interest. You have friends on the other side also, and sometimes you would like to protect them, and this is happening across the states, not only in Punjab or
Do you
Haryana.
agree there should be a cooling off period between one's day of retirement and their appointment?
I had personally a 3-year cooling off period before I came.
So that's why he was a better information.
So one of the first questions that the press were asked me that time was that they said that you are the most unsuitable man for handling this because you were in the government for so many years. So my answer only was that if I was doing what my duty was according to the act at that time, I should equally well do my duty according to the new act. I don't think having been in government is really a disadvantage, or it should not take away your credit. You have to do it on your merits. Whether you are from government or outside doesn't matter.
Right now what I have seen is that in most of the state information commission, all chief secretaries, they see it as a rehab post where they are rehabilitated for 5 years. So you see Haryana, you see Punjab, the one day you are you are a chief secretary, next day you become a chief information commissioner, and there are so many cases where people have taken premature retirement. I mean, they have 1 year,
their actual date of retirement is prolonged, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you very much for joining us in the discussion. It's time to take another short break here. Do stay with us.